At Quahog Honda and Subarus, we got Hondas and Subarus. Hey, young world, coming to you once again, live from the center of Central Florida, is Res the Beautiful Black Beast, and this guy,
Marvin.
And we're coming to you with another edition of Res Marvin Reviews for you. All right, young world. Today we're coming. All right, young world. Today we're coming back from. Am I making too much noise for you? Is that what's going on here? All right, everybody. Today we're coming back from watching Child's Play. Just came back from the theater, and boy, was it interesting, to say the least. Child's Play 2019, which I thought it was a continuation of the Child's Play series that started in what, the late 80s, early 90s?
I think it was 1988.
Oh, wow. So it started in 1988, and they've made several films over the last 2-3 decades now. How many sequels do they have?
You got part 2, part 3, I don't even know the order. Seed of Chucky, Bride of Chucky, I don't know, several.
There's so many, and I just thought that this was just another down the poop chute of corny horror movies, you know. But it actually was a full reboot, which I enjoyed actually. Usually with these reboots, and you see reboots where they try to follow the same story or, the general premise of what's been happening in the originals, but this one was pretty different. They changed the whole style of what made the doll come to be and what the origins are of this demonic doll.
I agree, it really was refreshing, especially in this era, that you see the reboot, and they constantly doing it, constantly dragging things from previous decades that were popular and trying to, give a modern spin on it. And this one, it seems like they got it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if anybody didn't know, Child's Play started back in the day, decades ago. What is that? 30 years ago now? Like 30?
Yeah.
Wow, about 31 years ago, and it's about a criminal. This guy, and it was funny. It's some pink dude, and he has some ties with voodoo or some kind of dark demonic.
Well, that's the original one. I mean, we talking about that.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't know if we didn't want to do a basis of comparison, or we just wanted to go in it. Whatever.
I'll be brief with this. Okay, so he has some kind of understanding of rituals that are soul possession rituals, and to get away from police officers, he attaches his soul into the body of a doll. That's pretty much the premises of the original one, and this one they did totally different.
Right.
It was about a disgruntled employee, and which was kind of crazy to me. So you got this old Asian sweatshop where you got these workers, and this guy is obviously like some kind of computer engineer. He has that kind of intelligence, but he's all dirty and stuff, and the dude's like, I found you on the street and get your ass right back on the streets. And because he was upset about that and the way he's being treated, rightfully so, but not rightfully so, he went to the extremes, programming the doll to be violent and emotional and all kind of weird stuff. And that's how your crazy doll came to be. This time it wasn't demonic. This time it was just programmed that way.
Right. Every safety protocol they had and to check the AI to keep it at doing what it should do. The guy basically just took the hinges off, and the doll became self-aware. And,
Some of the elements of this movie that I found to be very extra special was just the design of the doll itself. It was super creepy. Like, who the hell would bring a doll like that into their home? I didn't get that. Like, I would never. It was just, the facial expressions were just, it looked like a melted child. And like, you would bring that around your children. And they did a really good job of making it, just turning the creep factor of this doll up like over 9,000.
The doll just seemed extremely creepy before all hell started breaking loose. And I thought that was refreshing to see that it just didn't jumpstart, but it actually it followed the storyline. It actually built up until, you know, why he became, you know, so aggressive and so you know, hostile and violent. They designed it perfectly. They got exactly what they wanted out of him. That dog was extremely creepy, and what he was doing was creepy. I mean, it's just, if somebody, you sleeping and somebody just standing above you, and you wake up and like, what are you doing? And they just singing a song. Wouldn't that creep you the hell out?
Creep me the hell out.
Yeah. The writers just made everything made sense. So it took down the cheese factor, modernized everything, and just really fleshed it out. So it flowed. It kind of flowed for a horror movie. You know, so you got to see a bit of both, as well as the acting. I thought everybody did a pretty decent job. I mean, and we talking about a horror movie here, which, and then it also had, you know, comedic elements, which, you know, if you reminiscent of some of the earlier, the 80s horror movies like Nightmare on Elm Street and things of that nature, or even It, for that, you know, they weren't just horror, but they had that little bit of that comedic side to it. I felt that they brought that same passion, that same energy to this film as well.
You know, horror movie is the genre where the particular actor is not really something that people really even care about. You know, as long as you get some good scares in there, people are satisfied with that. But they actually had some really named actors in there, like Aubrey Plaza. I don't know what it is about that woman. It's just something about her. She looks like she's up to something, that she's just sneaky. And for some reason, it's sexy to me. I don't know, but she was in the movie. And she did a brilliant job as the mother. Like, Jesus Christ, Aubrey Plaza is playing somebody's mother? She's a freaking MILF.
That's true. Mark Hamill did the voice of Chucky this time. They got rid of Brad Dourif.
Really?
Yeah, that was Mark Hamill. And it was... he did a good job. He did a good job. I mean, I must admit.
A lot of people might sleep on Mark Hamill's voice acting abilities.
Yeah,
but
he's done.
This dude, he does a lot of voice acting. He did like
Joker.
The Joker in the
animated.
Yeah, one of the 1990s Batman animated series. And this dude, he murdered that. But he's nice when it comes to the voice acting. Also, Brian Tyree Henry, which this guy, he's up and coming in Hollywood, young black man from, I think, he went to some prestigious acting school. Was it I don't know if it was Yale.
I'm not sure his background. I just know he was in Atlanta and actually loved that show, loved his character.
He played in Widows. He did, what's the TV show with Vice Principal. He did a couple episodes with that. And then they're continuing with this, you know, the whole villain, you know, have these actual legitimate reasons for being villains and stuff. Because, you know, I can't really even say that the doll, Chucky, was a villain. I mean, he was just doing what he's programmed to do. I mean, are sharks villains?
Are sharks villains?
I don't think so. And I don't think Chucky was necessarily a villain. Yes, what he was doing was deplorable and, you know, it shouldn't be happening in civilized society.
Who decides the standards, though?
Congress.
All right, yeah, he was murdering people. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
The judicial system, legislature. Yeah, you can't go around murdering people.
But he didn't know no better. Fault.
Yeah, he didn't know no better. He was just doing what he was programmed to do. What I enjoyed about this movie and this particular writing style, it's like, I thought that a lot of the people in the movie, the characters were like doing what actual people would be doing. It's like, you know, you'll see a movie like back in the 80s or the early 90s, you'll see a movie like this and these characters like so over the top, like they don't really act like real people do. Like, so the kid is in this movie, the main protagonist, Andy, he's deaf and he's, you know, it's a kid with a disability. So in the 80s horror movie, he'll have all kind of bullies out the yin yang and what have you. But then, you know, you got the kids in his apartment building, like he wants when they go to befriend each other, you know, they don't act like dicks and stuff. They act like actual kids. So, you know, for me that makes the movie more likable. You know, the characters more likable. You get emotionally invested when people act like actual people. Like I can relate to these people. And I think that was missing from a lot of the older horror movies.
we love to see when people bring passion to a project like this, or any project, because you see the payoff in it, and that's exactly what he's talking about. Is going on the tropes where, oh, what should I do? To fall down and stumbling and dumb stuff. But people actually, all right, I see something, I'm going to report it. Let me not just go down this dark hallway by myself. Mm-hmm. They do stuff like, all right, this is what's happening. I recognize it's happening. X, Y, Z, let's go. So, yeah, that's what you're referring to. And I totally agree. Now, I ain't saying it's the best movie in the world, but it's pretty darn good. You got what you want to see. You got to see Chucky. You got to see the little dog doing what he do. You got to see a little gore. You got to. I didn't expect it to be as funny as it was in some scenes. I found it funny. Maurice he was laughing a bit. He found it funny. It was surprisingly well, because in the reboot era, as soon as you see a reboot, now we used to like, oh man, this is gonna suck big time, and we actually had no plans on seeing this. A buddy, kept, saying, hey man, I think you guys should review it, go check it out, and I'm saying, what the hell, let's go see it, and it was pleasant surprise.
So on the Maurice head scale, I would give this, let's say 4 out of 5 Maurice heads.
Man, I swear to God, I was going to say the same thing. On the Marvin scale, 4 out of 5, man. If you're a horror fan, especially, you ain't squeamish, man, go see it, man. Do yourself a favor. Grab your popcorn, grab your drink, grab your girl, your kid maybe. Go check it out.
Oh yeah, old Zayden was there and he wasn't tripping too bad, but
he wasn't tripping.
He did go to sleep, halfway through?
Yeah, halfway through. But the funny thing is, hey y'all, my son, he's 3 years old, and he was sitting in my lap, and I'm thinking he ain't really paying. But then at the first little scene, I saw him covering his eyes, and I kind of felt bad. I'm like, man, I drugged him in here to watch this with me, and I didn't think he paying attention. And he covering his eyes. I'm like, well, yeah, man, it's a learning lesson.
Yeah.
Feels character.
That's true though.
Hey, we grew up on it.
That wraps up another edition of Res Marvin Reviews. Thank you for coming to see us. Like and subscribe, and let us know if there's a horror movie or any other movie. Let us know anything y'all want us to review, be it anime, TV shows, movies. If you got some video of you and your girlfriend in a heated debate, let us review that.
We sure will.
Okay.
I like a good debate.
Yeah. That's Res Marvin Reviews. Hey everybody, don't let your distractions hinder your actions. Res Marvin, we out.
Boom.